Csaba, welcome. Great you could make some time in your schedule to join me here. I wanted to talk with you about the OECD Digitalisation project. Can you explain a bit in a nutshell what that is?
Okay. Thank you very much for the invitation first. Yes, of course, we are always happy to talk about our important projects which also concern to the seed industry, so it's a good opportunity for us to present our digitalization work. Actually, as you know, we have a more than 60 years old certification system, which all is paper-based, which works very well, is accessible, and nobody really complained. But we realized like 5 years ago that the world is going to digital. So that time we had to decide, and we agreed that we will explore the possibility to digitalize the OECD certification system, particularly that the partner organizations who are involved in the regulatory framework of the seed trade, they already started to work on this, like ISTA, IPPC, on the ePhyto, or even UPOV on the variety registration. So I think that was a very timely moment that the OECD involved in this exploratory work. That time, it was before COVID, we already thought about to undertake a feasibility study just to make the case and check if that is really working for OECD and important for our member countries or not. And especially after the COVID was kind of a proof that we are on the right track, and digitalization became even more important because many countries recognize that if you have a digitalized system, then you can continue the business. So that was one of the value driver among the four, which we considered. Of course, money is important for everyone, even for national authorities. That's the fact. So cost saving and efficiency improvement, they were the second value driver. And also fraud, that's also a problem in the seed markets in many countries. So if we can help seed companies and generally the seed sector to reduce fraud, introduce a more robust certification system and labeling system, then it's obviously a benefit. And the last one is more for the future, because potentially digitalization can spark innovation. So many data can be attached to the OECD level. So seed growers, they can send many information or give access information to the farmers. So it's built trust between the two partners. So practically they were the value drivers, what we considered. And now we are in the middle of the development of the project. We did last year we spent our time on the analysis. So we checked what are the functionalities which we should consider, the technical requirements, and also the legal requirements, like all this data security is very important, and we exchange data between countries. So we made our homework, and now we are in the phase that we started really to develop of this digital system. So that's where we are now. So hopefully by the end of 2024, we will have the first version of the system, which is the minimum viable product, which how we call. And we will grow from the small system to a bigger one, adding more functionalities to the system.
Exciting. I can't wait to see the result. But of course, here we are at a seed congress, the Euroseeds Congress, and we're surrounded by seed companies. Can you explain a bit, or can you predict a bit what will be the impact for seed companies when this project takes fruition?
Yes, of course, as we are working together with the seed industry from the beginning of the certification system, we work very closely with ISF, and we established the OECD certification system. And of course, we took into account the interest of industry. They were involved even in this analysis phase and all this project development. But I would say seed companies and generally the seed industry would benefit from the general improvement of efficiency. So transaction would be faster, like you don't have to wait for a certificate, for example, but it could be done more easily. Also the fraud prevention, that is beneficial for the seed companies, that they are not losing money on fraudulent seed lots. Mm-hmm. And of course, OECD will not solve all of the issues around fraud, but we can do our parts mm-hmm. and our jobs to secure our system. So I think that will be an overall benefit. But in particular, a seed company, so we are planning to open up this digital system to authorize seed companies in the future. It's not happening at the beginning, but it will come later. So then they can directly, not indirectly, so they can upload information on their certified seed lots, but we will keep the national designated authority as a validator before it's going to the OECD system. Also, they can add provide information to the farmers on the seed lot. For example, they can attach or upload e-phyto certificate or the digital ISTA certificate as well. Mm-hmm. So then the buyer will find, or they can look for this data, through the OECD system. Mm-hmm. And also, if the company multiplies seed, like they buy a basic seed, they can check they can validate the seed lots through the OECD system. So it would be an immediate possibility through a digital OECD label, for example.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
And then on the future, as I said, there are a lot of innovation possibilities. Once you have different databases, combine different information on the seed lot, could be an interesting for the future. I don't want to predict anything because I'm not I cannot see the future, but for example, carbon emission is one thing. So like a carbon neutral seed potentially could be an option in the future. But again, that is not something which we consider at the moment, but it can happen.
Interesting, very interesting. But of course, this digitalization project is not the only topic that you're working on. Can you share a little bit what other topics the OECD Seed Schemes are working on?
Yes. Yeah, actually it's a good opportunity because we really want to inform the seed sector what we are doing because we work very closely with the ISF, but also Euroseed in the European representing the interest of the European seed companies. So actually, what is one of the most important is that we reviewed our strategic plan, and based on this, our activities based on like 4 or 5 key pillars. One is we want to develop and continue developing state-of-the-art seed certification standards in cooperation with the seed industry. And a good example is this working very closely with Euroseeds on the hybrid wheat. We are testing the OECD standards for hybrid wheat. So it's a project on 5 years. And that will facilitate the production of hybrid wheat in an early phase, and we will adjust our standard how we will see based on the information which we receive on post-control and also on company experiences. The second pillar is the robustness, integrity of the OECD seed scheme. So we want a system which is reliable and uniformly implemented by the different countries. And we have 62 now. So it's very important. And for that, we are introducing some monitoring tools, how we can see if the national designated authorities are like implementing our rules in a way that we would like to, and in line with other national designated authorities. So we are introducing peer reviews, even online audits in sometimes. So just to make sure that everything is working well. And the third one, which I think is very interesting and very important to me, is the extension of the seed scheme. We want to attract new countries to join. Sure. And in Africa, we have quite a successful couple of years behind us, and we are still continuing to grow in Africa. This year, Nigeria joined the OECD Seed Schemes, and we just had an evaluation mission of Burkina Faso 2 weeks ago. So we are hoping that by next June, at the annual meeting, we can approve Burkina Faso, the 23rd member country. We are not only in Africa, but also in Latin America, and we will have another evaluation on Paraguay. So we are hoping to have 2 members from the Latin America and Africa. Another thing which I want to say is related to the extension, that extension is not like the countries just coming to us and then we just approve them, but we are already facilitating their accession process, and we are involved in a capacity building project which we are developing with ISF together with the industry to help African countries to develop their seed system and seed sector according to international standards. So this is what we discuss, and hopefully that is a 5-year plan, including 13 African countries. Some of them, they are already in the scheme, but some of them, they are new. And we expect that, first of all, that is to help them to ensure food security in their country, because as seed is one of the most important input product in the food system, then obviously that's very important that they have a quality seed. But also it is for the livelihood of the farmers, but also seed companies, so they can increase their seed production. They have more money. So that's business, and also the higher level interest of the society is like kind of meet in this regard. So that's important. And the last which I would like to mention is that it's also important that the seed sector and the view of the seed sector appears when we discuss higher political and policy issues, for example, climate change, food systems. So the OECD Seed Scheme is always ready to contribute to any other policy work of the other OECD departments. And this connection, I think, is very important to raise awareness of the seed scheme, but also in general the seed sector, which is very technical, but I think we have to help the industry in that way as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Csaba. That's a lot of topics on your plate. Well, listen, the OECD seed schemes and OECD as well are, of course, countries are the decisive stakeholders there. They decide what's going on. How does the seed sector, the private seed sector, have an influence on the OECD seed schemes? Yes,
that's a good question. And as I mentioned, when the seed scheme was established, we worked very closely with FAO, but also the ISF that time. So from the beginning, it was very important for the OECD to work together with the seed industry. So not only take into account the interest of the participating countries, but also the seed sector. And that's why we stayed in the business in the last 60 years, because that's the guarantee that we develop standards which are in line of the interest of the governments, but also the seed industry. So that's the basis of the cooperation with the seed industry. And of course, how we implement it is again another important issue, because it's good to have the theory, but implementation is important. So our main partner or key partner is the International Seed Federation as the global representative of the seed industry. But we also work together with regional seed associations like the Euroseed, for example. But in each continent, we work with the relevant seed association of that continent. So we are trying to work with representative groups of the seed industry, and we don't work together with individual companies, just to be sure that is not one interest is taken into account. So that's the way. So if a seed company has an issue that they want to revise an OECD standard, or they need to develop a new standard for a new crop, then it's better to contact with the regional seed association or the International Seed Federation. And then they can bring this issue to the annual meeting of the OECD Seed Scheme, and we can discuss and start to discuss. And we also rely on the seed industry when we have this experimental phase of introduction of a new standard, like in the hybrid wheat. So we are relying on the experiences of the industry and plant breeders to be sure that our standards are met with the reality and not develop something which is really not applicable, because then the standard would be ignored sooner or later. So I think that's kind of how we work together with the industry. But during the years, we developed very good relation with all of the associations.
Nice, great to see the 60-year cooperation between the plant breeders and the seed companies and the OECD seed schemes, and very important contribution to food security as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Csaba.
Thank you very much.